And we are back. Welcome to the SoapBox, where people who work, volunteer, and care about recovery tell us who they are and what they're most passionate about. My name is Rich Jones, and I'm your host, and I represent parentingyourchildinrecovery.com. And my host website is secondstarts.com. That's the number 2, NDSTARTS.com. Today, my special guest today, I want to use the word special, okay, are Daniel and Linda Sims. Okay, they operate DefundDOC.net, and they're the host of the DefundDOC.net podcast. And to know the reveal, let me introduce you, Daniel and Linda. Hello, and thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you.
Hello, thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Okay, guys, listen. I introduced you, and I want to get straight to it. I want to give you both of them. Give me a spiel on who you are, the Cliff Notes version of who you both are. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with defund, because to me, this is exciting. I'm an old jail nurse, so I want to hear what you're talking about. Okay, so go ahead, introduce yourself, Daniel and Linda Sims. Hello.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, hi. So basically, what we're trying to do is our mission is to educate the American people that we have currently. The system that we have is broken. It's not working. You know what I mean? And the fact is that vast majority of our people are not getting the treatment or careers, and they're getting back out and recidivating. You know what I mean? And so what we're trying to do is try to create a new paradigm shift towards a better, more fair system that actually focuses on our citizens and rehabilitation. And in 1993 is when I first was introduced to the criminal justice system at the age of 13. I wrote a book about it. It's called Homeless in Seattle, a Foster Kids Manifesto. But essentially, I was abandoned into the foster care system by my parents, and then I ended up running away and living on the streets of Seattle. And so I went to an institution at age 13, where essentially the whole game is just to keep us better, not making our people better, and it's just a real corrupt system that just takes your labor and just kind of keeps you in a state of oppression, and it just doesn't make anybody better. And that's why we have the high crime rate in the United States, is because of the criminal justice system. I mean, when you don't educate people and you keep them in poverty and you keep them with debt and you keep them with their drug addictions, then there's no secret that these people are just going to stay on that same cycle of criminality,
Right.
And so we're trying to disrupt it. We're disruptors, and that's what we're doing,
Okay, excellent. And Linda, how about you? Jump in there. We can't see you on the screen, but talk to us.
I think we can see me now. I flipped the camera. So basically, I met Daniel 2 or 3 years ago, and he kind of opened my eyes to everything regarding what he's saying, and we kind of just had a connection, and then I wanted to help him get his voice out there and live his dreams, and this was his dream. So that's my part.
No, there's more to it than that. She's being shy, but the thing is that she's a very caring person. But the thing is that those of us that have struggled with addiction know that we all make bad decisions, right? And Linda, I'll let her speak to it, but she has a sobriety struggle herself, and that's what really started our connection off.
Oh, excellent. Okay, very good. Listen, that's great start here. Listen, before we go on any further, I want to let everybody know something very important. I got breaking news for my little show too. We found a home, and the home of the show is going to be on Substack. So it's going to be very important. It's going to be the Soapbox with Rich Jones, RN. And that's what's going to be on Substack. So that's where we're going to basically host the video. So you want to see Linda and Daniel, where you'll be seeing it now, but we'll also put those out in other places. But that's going to be the home of the show. And we also want to let you know, before we come back to the show, that if you are the parent or mentor of a young adult between 17 and 24, and you're looking for a new non-clinical uh, solution that eliminates without shame, guilt, or blame, you look in the show notes, and we're going to be talking about it very specifically. And we also have a place for practitioners, also for and referral agents. So check the show notes out. We're going to be talking more about Linda. I'm going to get some more information. I don't know if we get a chance to talk about it, but apparently Daniel's written some books. I want to make absolutely sure that those books are in there,
Of
and
course.
about it, and we get a good feel for what's going on. This means a lot to me. I'm going to tell you, it means a lot to me. I don't want to go on, but this subject, when I caught it, it was like this is what I always thought about. So without further ado, you guys, I'm ready to put you on what I call up on the soapbox. Okay, give you a chance to talk to me, tell me what you're feeling about these issues that are dear to you, and I really want to get your perspective full on right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is your opinion of the failure of the DOC to even do what its main mission was. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to go about it is for me to tell you from the outside, from the inside out perspective, and then let Linda talk about how it is from a family member and from a supporter of those incarcerated,
Yes.
how hard it is to, but this is the thing. We have a system, right, that it's literally designed around the biggest plague on society and our history as a people from the very beginning of time. The 13th Amendment allows the state to enslave its own citizens. And when you start from that paradigm, then everything that goes below it is all evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, you from the very beginning of the paradigm of slavery, everything below it is just you can't even really address the ills of criminality. When you committing a crime against your own citizens that are already vastly out worse than any crime that is happening to be put into DOC, then all of a sudden, how do you have the credibility to warehouse these people, steal their labor, and then continually extract as much money as you can from their family and their friends? The paradigm needs to shift. And so that's why we're trying to bring education to the American people, is just really around that topic. Because once you end slavery, then we can get back to a place of reality. You know what I'm saying? Because our labor is our property. That's what it belongs to us. And when you steal that labor, you're committing a crime against humanity. You know what I mean? Let's start from that premise. And then once you get that premise, that foundation set, then you come to finding ways to actually heal the nation in regards to crime. You know what I mean? Because you can't sit here on this high perch and think that you're better than the American people that are making bad decisions when you commit in the biggest human right atrocity in all humankind. You know what I'm saying? There's more people under slavery, under the prison system today than at any time in history. So, I mean, I'm talking more than the Romans. I'm talking more than the African-American slave trade. I'm talking about today, millions of Americans are being enslaved. Their wages are being stolen. So we need to get together, and that's why we're trying to educate people. That's kind of like our foundation. But then Linda can kind of speak to how hard it is to support those that are incarcerated through visitation and the money that they extract from Linda for every phone call or every package. So go ahead, Linda.
Yeah.
I'll just have to make it brief because you've got a lot more you need to talk about and we're limited on time. So they just make it very difficult to be able to stay in contact. Like he was saying, phone time, emails, just any way we can connect with them, including visits. They're making visits really difficult for the family members, not only those incarcerated, but the actual family members going to visit. So it's not good, and it's really hard to connect with our loved ones.
Okay. Now you mentioned something about clarifying your goal, and your goal is not to close down prisons, but that's not your goal. But you do have other goals, right?
Of course. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. So this is the innovation that I'm seeking, right? The innovation I'm seeking is when you commit a bad decision in society, right? You're not sentenced to warehousing and slavery. You're sentenced to a certificate as a flagger if you commit a small crime. If you commit a big crime, you're sentenced to a bachelor's degree or a doctorate degree or some kind of career, right? But rather than being warehoused and and you're just a slave on a plantation, you're only here to get a career. You're here to get treatment, and then you're meant to go back into society to be a taxpayer, to repay the victim. You know what I'm saying? Like make society whole. I mean, to disrupt the cycle of criminality rather than this corrupt system we have today. You know what I mean? Where our people are just in this vicious cycle of slavery, relief in poverty, and then go back to old criminality ways, and then come back to prison and repeat the cycle over and over and over, which is almost 90% of the population in prison. So that's what our agenda is, our innovation is. It is to sentence people to careers, sentence people to treatment, and that's what our proposal is.
Right. Okay. Very, very good. So we basically went over. So I want you to explain this to me because I read it a couple of times and I may have asked you about it before, but okay. When the phrase, the genocide of slow death sentences, what exactly are you talking about? Clarify that for me.
Yeah, so the definition of genocide in the human rights courts and international criminal courts is when you target specific groups of people, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in prison, virtually every single person in prison, I say like 99% of the people in prison are one, those in poverty. Number two, minority groups. Number three, mental health. That's the only three groups that are vastly disproportionate inside prison, and those are the same people that are being given long prison sentences. And when I say a long prison sentence, I'm saying they're death sentences. These are slow death sentences. And anybody that say, "Oh yeah, you go to prison, you still have a life," you have no life in prison. You are a slave of the state. Anything the state, like any minute, they control every aspect of your life. It's miserable existence. It's not life. This is an existence. So that is a slow death sentence. And the thing is, Richard, is that a lot of people don't realize that people are getting death sentences, slow death sentences for crimes that don't fit. So you like for instance, I got 34 years in prison, right? And not one person was severely injured. I'm in here for a drug deal, robbery, crime, right? But it was related to my disease, right? I had a drug addiction. I'm playing sober over 10 years now. I've been, and so the thing is that they have criminalized all people's bad decisions, and they've criminalized people's diseases. And so people, long prison sentences, I'm talking 3-strike laws, I'm talking the habitual offender laws. These are the most vulnerable people of our society. These are people struggling with disease, drug addiction. These are people struggling with poverty. These are people that grew up in gang culture, drug culture. They need a paradigm shift. You know what I mean? They need that education to shift that criminal cycle. But the state ain't doing it, you know what I mean? Right. And they're leaving them in these cycles of criminality, warehousing them, and then releasing them to society where they explode upon society. And then they're like, why are you participating? So what we're trying to do is end that practice of slow death sentences, giving our people a career, and releasing them back to society as soon as they're done with that so that they can be productive members of society.
Okay, that's excellent. Actually, I'm going to make this statement again, but again, I thank you for this because I spent 10 years as a director of nurses in a county jail. You know, not that's 100% same dynamic, but still, the basics of what you're talking about, I've experienced and seen firsthand, and that always troubled me. You know, I was there to deliver healthcare, so I didn't have the police mentality, but at the same time, and I can see both sides of it, but the recovery aspect. I always believed that over 85% of who we were arrested, maybe more, I may be conservative, had a poverty or drug and alcohol problem. And I'm probably being conservative with 85. So that meant a lot to me, this you being here. Before we go on to the next section, I want to also remember everybody, the show notes are going to be very important here. I'm going to put more about this defund. I want you to be able to go there, look and think about it. This should be a tabletop conversation for a lot of people by the time this is over with, whoever hears this. This should be something that you talk about, because I think that it's relevant to our society as a whole, not just the incarcerated, but the people right here funding it, victims. Everybody should be worried about this. So again, we're going to be at Substack with the SoapBox with Rich Jones, RN. So check that out. We'll put some more stuff with Daniel and Linda. Okay, now let me go on to this part, because I want to get to your projects. I want you to give me again. Let's go over what DefundDOC. Some of the things that you're actually doing or have in motion. Plans of attack. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Linda can speak to some of the projects we're working on right now, but one of the things that we've come to find that the biggest ways to break the cycle of recidivism is to connect people with network. And so that's why we launched eliteinmates.com, and that is a premium 10-pound website for prisoners to meet people in the community that can network with them and be a support network. That's number one. Number two, we're also obviously our podcast is DefundDOC.net, and we're trying to work towards educating the population. We really like to talk to senators. Linda reaches out to senators across the country and legislators across the country in regards to policy. And so we got a lot of projects in the pipeline. But Linda can talk about her advocacy and how she reaches out to people trying to talk to them. Go ahead, Linda.
I'll just make it brief because we've got about 6 minutes. So
okay.
Just what I do is I speak with a lot of the families of the incarcerated through our DefundDOC social media platforms and listen to their stories. And Daniel was talking about interviews. We also interview people who are incarcerated that are innocently incarcerated or that have experienced some kind of injustice. So I speak with all those kind of people, and then we try to connect them with a resource. At least I try to connect them with a resource that will help them. So yeah, I kind of do all the stuff out here, the reaching out, talking to people, trying to gather information for future podcasts.
Okay, very good. Linda, make sure that in the near future.
Put a little cherry on that. We look for interviews on DefundDOC, and we're trying to continue to broaden the appeal for that podcast. This is the thing. Not a lot of people have it. It's not a big market for prison reform because once you get out, you're not really thinking about it, right? But the thing is, you can't forget if you've experienced the justice system, whether you've been on that side, like you, Richard, or if you've been on this side. The thing is that we're all one people, and if something's not working, we have to make a more perfect union. You know what I mean? We have to work together and bring education to the people. So we really need people to get to the social, DefundDOC social, and to our podcast. So we would appreciate anybody out there that start joining our community.
That'd be great. Exactly. Okay. All right. So I want to, first of all, hearing you say that, I need to tell you this right now. You need to get me on that podcast.
Of course.
Because
yeah,
I'm going to say this again, and the people may get tired of hearing it, but this is so enlightening to me that you're even doing this. I worked 10 years straight saying to myself, We gotta be able to do a better job with this. We really do, you know. But when you're so busy inside there working, you know, what do you know? But we gotta do a better job. That's why after my retirement, it became a thing. My actual second starts, even though I work in the recovery realm and the recovery spectrum, it all mentally came into fruition because of young inmates I saw in the system and what I thought and how I could benefit them in and leaving out. So the whole thing was about being able to make use of the time that we had. It wasn't great time, but we can make great use out of it. So again, guys, this is gold for me, and this is gold for the people that are listening. So I'm glad. I am very happy to have you here with me. I know your time is short, so
yeah, we got about 3 minutes left.
okay. Daniel, thank you. Good luck to you. I hope everything goes as well as possible for you.
Most grateful, and just so you know, you're on the calendar now. You're gonna be. We got an episode up with you coming up now. You locked in, Ritter.
I would appreciate it because I've got something to say about this, so, and I want somebody to hear. So that would be great. All right, guys, listen, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Daniel. I want to thank everybody for being here. Remember, the new home is going to be Substack. We're going to get some stuff. I'm going to get some stuff from Linda and Daniel. His books are going to be in the show notes and some other information. So when that comes out, you will be a part of it. I want to thank everybody. And I want to remember everybody, I speak for Daniel and Linda when I say everybody, go out there and help somebody get better, help somebody stay better, and help somebody be better. Thank you very much. And till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.